On Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the morning, the people at Instagram published a blog post describing another laundry list of product updates they claim will make their platform less toxic for children and teens. And I'm sure they thought that the dead of night was the right time to make this announcement, and I don't blame them. If I wanted to pass off something and just give a little lip service and a little deflection and make it look like some type meaningful reform, I might try a 3 a.m. news dump also. But what they did was to put up changes on how to handle things on their site with drug use and self-harm and violence and eating disorders and low self-esteem and human trafficking and bullying. Mr. President, what they told us, they know there is violence and adverse content on their site. And yesterday at the hearing at our Consumer Protection Subcommittee at the Commerce Committee, Senator Blumenthal and I made it fairly clear to our friends from the Silicon Valley that they cannot escape accountability for what is happening on their site, not from Congress and not from the American people. I'm talking about the moms, the dads, the teachers, the pediatricians who approach me every single day that I am in Tennessee. They're worried about their kids, and the concern is not the product of generational differences. When they were growing up, drugs and eating disorders and bullying were problems, but you know what, Mr. President? They weren't inescapable. Now, these horrible things follow our children every minute of every day, all courtesy of big tech. So yes, when a company like Instagram claims that they're going to do more to support parents and to keep kids safe, Tennesseans listen, but they don't take their word for it. They test it out. They look for evidence of accountability. And with all of these updates that they posted, they didn't give us transparency. They didn't give a timeline for when they're going to be implemented. Basically, they said, we know this is a problem, and we'll get around to fixing it at some point in the future. They're still not making changes. I do want to thank Chairman Blumenthal and other members of the subcommittee for staying focused on this issue around. This time around, we had Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri on the witness stand, and it really was perfect timing. You know, yesterday's hearing was the 5th time this year that the subcommittee has met to discuss what Congress and big tech should do to protect our precious children online. It was the 4th time I've personally spoken to someone from Meta, as they now call themselves, which is Instagram's parent, and by this point, I felt like maybe they would come forward with something concrete for us. This is how we're going to get things done. But no, nothing changes. This week, my staff put themselves through yet another deep dive into the dark corners of Instagram and confirmed that there has been no crackdown on dangerous content as Instagram has previously claimed. We searched for posts that glorified eating disorders and drug use, and it took them about 30 seconds to find those posts glorifying drug use and eating disorders. And they're not nearly as good at this as the 14 and 15-year-olds who are on this platform are at finding this content. If they can find this content given half a minute and a decent internet connection, then why can't Instagram find this? Why do they continue to deny that it is there? One of the things that shocked me the most was Mr. Mosseri's testimony was his refusal to admit that this content is still pervasive. He was absolutely sure that we were hitting him with anecdotal evidence, and he said as much, but it wasn't just me finding this terrible content on the platform. It was everyone on our committee, Democrat and Republican. There was agreement. We all came to the table with evidence of what we had found online. I will still stipulate that we all share the same goal of protecting our children and teens online, but nothing has made me question that more than watching executive after executive from platform after platform deny the existence of these problems. The time for talking through these problems is over. The people that work for big tech at Instagram, Facebook, Snap, TikTok, Google are all aware of this problem. They don't need congressional hearings to tell them that there are platforms, their platforms, that are hotbeds for trafficking, drug use, bullying, and the glorification of eating disorders. They don't need me to come to the dais with evidence that their current protections don't work and that more of the same won't magically turn the tide. They know it, and we know that they know it. And their knowledge, it hasn't changed a single thing about their business model. Fortunately, we have bipartisan momentum to put some guardrails back on these companies. We're working on children's privacy, data security, and Section 230 reforms. We're also working on a national consumer privacy bill and kids-specific policies to keep minors safe online. No more half measures, no more empty promises. I've been working in tech policy for quite a while now, and I've watched companies like Instagram grow from these tiny, great ideas and startups into multi-billion-dollar corporations, the largest in our country. Their platforms are integrated into our lives, our culture, our politics. They are upstream from everything. Unfortunately, they are also places where teens can go to buy drugs, bully their classmates, find human traffickers, sex traffickers, and where girls waste away. If anyone deserves an explanation from big tech, it's the children and teens and their parents who are suffering because of these companies. I invite my colleagues to join me in holding these companies accountable. I yield the floor.